Alright, so we got a new day. Apparently I didn't hit record at the beginning of this video, so I have to fill in to make the rest of it make sense. But I was, got an early start today. I got to get Sarah and, coincidentally, Ruby to their doctor appointments today. She's got some blood work and a surgery coming up. So had to start early this morning. And I just need to, before we get going, sharing the rest of that email from yesterday where I left off, I just need to make sure that people are aware of some things that are going on. I need to, because I know there's a substantial amount of people here. And the person who is in the position of leader here in Canada has just been exposed. The opposition, there's some people doing a pretty good job of exposing some of the crimes he's done. One of them recently, get this one, he embezzled over $250 million of our dollars, my money, and my fellow Canadians' money, and gave it to a so-called business to build an app. A business who the entirety of this business is 4 people, and they operate out of a basement. And he funneled over $250 million through these people to create the ArriveCan app. This app that is supposed to monitor every one of our moves due to the CVID thing. But anyways, what I'm saying is they are very dark criminal individuals, and I do strongly believe they are members of a club in a way. I think it is a club, global club. The evidence is in her face all over, nonstop, and it's alarming to me. And a lot of people, a lot of truth channels have all been preaching the same thing for quite some time, saying something's coming, shit's coming. Okay, whatever. But it's not going to come like hitting a switch. It has been coming, and it's here today. It's a shit show today. Whether you care to acknowledge it or not, it's a shit show going on in the Western countries today, especially. I do believe that the so-called leaders, but they seem to be proven, easily proven, all criminals are part of a club. And what I'm getting at is, why I need to speak openly about this is, I got a funny feeling these club members are, well, they are getting exposed nonstop. The drastic, crazy-ass shit they are creating and causing to cause us to have a less quality life existence. I believe they are going to do something drastic to remain in somewhat control of the power that they've acquired. I have a funny gut feeling that that is true. Unfortunately, but these people are psychopaths, without a doubt. What they have done to us this past few years, year, 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it is, what they've been doing to us is absolute criminal. Criminal. And I would just like to point out, take this one particular opportunity because it's a real easy one to watch, see and observe for all of you if you're interested. You should have interest. It's just a great opportunity to confirm to the world that the scum criminal, I hate saying the word leader because they're not, but what they've done, we really need the whole world to see and know. All right? And that was, I think, basically the opener of my video. And I didn't realize I didn't hit record. All right, so here's the rest of the video and my feelings this morning. And there's some very important words being shared by people emailing in this video as well. Make sure you listen up to everything. All right? Here we go. I just have a bad gut feeling that they are going to do something drastic. What? I don't know. Man, I wish I could do something big. You know? It frustrates the shit out of me to know for 100% fact that a criminal is in that position where I live in my country, and they're doing things to cause this rapid decline in quality of life for all of us. It's very frustrating for me. It's just the way I'm built, my character. I don't know what's going on, how to describe it. It's too early in the morning too. I gotta get some more coffee in me, but for the way I'm built, it's very, very hard for me to not go tackle this issue and solve it. You know what I mean? It's very, very frustrating for me. That's why I start talking about it here, right? It's tough. But the one thing that all of us can do is keep each other aware and keep talking openly and as freely as we can. So, maybe I'm doing that. Maybe that's my one way of fighting back in a way, is to make sure that I can drop little hints and tidbits along the way to the people that will listen here, and they will pass it along and make sure that people are aware of truth. Right? So there you go. There's my little rant. Hopefully it made sense. Probably not. But I'll tell you what, man, I am daily, I feel like I can't describe how it really seriously, truly makes me feel. It's like, I don't know. It's like you want to fight so bad, and the ring is right there, and you can't find the route to get into it. If that's any kind of a way to describe it. You just want to go get your enemy, and you just want to go get your enemy and stop them so bad. That's how I feel. All right, so on that note, I'll contain my thoughts on that a little more again. And I'm going to get some voices heard, because that's one battle that I am winning, and I decided to take on. And I went up against a fair handful of individuals who I do consider the enemies, and won. I did exactly what they did not want me to do and tried to prevent me from doing, and did it anyways, and you all did it with me and won. So that's a good one. And we continue to win together, and I'm going to continue reading. So that's winning, right? So this one battle. I've got a lot of battles in the go besides this one. And I don't quit. You punch me in the face and knock me on the ass. I'm going to go home, I'm going to heal up, and I'm going to come and find you. And we're going to do it again. And if you punch me in the face and knock me down again, I'm going to go home, I'm going to heal up, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to find you. And I'm not going to stop until I knock you on your ass and you can't get up. That's how I feel about every single battle I take on in life. So, that being said, you can understand how frustrated I am daily that I can't go get this one enemy. Okay, here we go. Part 2 of the email from yesterday, where we closed on that email yesterday. Here's the rest of it, all right? Sorry about the background sound of the heater, but it is freezing in here this morning. This is titled My Fourth Encounter. I've shared my face-to-face encounter as a young boy, my strange camping experience at Mount Rainier, my other strange camping experience on Mount Pilchuck with a possible missing 4-in-1 experience. And now I will share my most recent experience where I had another strange face-to-face encounter, but from a distance. Again, I'm not sure why it is that I have had all these strange experiences over the course of my life, but these 4 events are the most significant Bigfoot encounters that I have had. I have had many less significant things happen to me, like slaps on the side of my log house, many fascinating dreams that seem to be more than just dreams, and also an encounter with a different cryptid. Why? I wish I knew. Back in September 2016, I went on a solo hike on the Man Road trailhead just south of the small town of Startup, Washington, and next to the Skykomish River. It was an overcast day, and arriving at the trailhead, there were no other vehicles or signs of other hikers. When I started down the main trail, I felt pretty uneasy and had that sense that something wasn't normal. I felt like they were around. It is a hard sensation to explain, but it is like the air is electrified and all your senses become heightened. Even though I felt this way, I wanted to press on and spend some quality time in nature alone. I'd stopped in an area that had recently been clear-cut and listened for several minutes. I definitely felt like I was being watched, and even though I was unnerved by this, I just did not want to turn around and go back. I continued to mentally project that I was a friend of the Sasquatch people and just wanted to spend time in nature and open my heart to whoever or whatever was observing me. I wanted to be an open book, and that although I considered myself a friend of the Sasquatch, I did not want to intrude upon them. I always feel that it is vital to be transparent with them and never try to hide anything from them, like an agenda to capture them on film or gain evidence of their existence. I believe they already know your intent and plans, so in my opinion, it is always best to be humble and transparent when venturing into their forests and lands. I don't want to hold anything back of my intentions, whatever they may be. After sitting for a while, trying to project who I was and being transparent to them, I got up and continued on down the trail. After about a mile of walking, the trail turned to the south and started going uphill. The further I went up the hill, the more the air seemed electric or charged. I did not feel scared, but it did seem very odd, and I was pretty weirded out over it. This sensation kept growing until suddenly, in an instant, I realized that it was gone. Yet at the same moment, everything seemed very different. The trail had changed instantly. One moment I was walking up the hill, and the next moment the trail was level again and everything was different. That's when I realized that I was walking back the way, that was when I realized that I was walking back the way I had just come and was next to the clear-cut area again, walking back towards the trailhead. I felt so discombobulated and confused as to what had happened. How did I get to this point? Why was I walking back the way I had just come? I had traversed at least several hundred yards from the last place I remember going up the hill. It just didn't make any sense at all. I stopped, sat down on a stump, and tried to process what the hell was going on. The feeling of electricity in the air was gone. After several minutes, I stood back up and started to walk on the trail again towards the hill where I had just been. I felt fine physically, so I was hoping that there wasn't something wrong with my brain. As I started coming close to the part in the trail where it started going uphill again, I started having what I call flashbacks to what had just happened to me. I started remembering. I was walking up this hill and had just passed a small creek and felt this crazy sensation of electricity. And then all of a sudden, a large male Sasquatch stepped out onto the trail about 50 feet in front of me from the right side of the trail. The resemblance it had to Patty from the Patterson-Gimlin film was remarkable, although it did not have any breasts. As it walked onto the trail, it turned to its left and looked at me and said into my mind, "You do not see me." And then the next thing I know, I awoke from a kind of a trance, having turned around and walked back from where I came. When this all came flooding back, I knew that I would be in danger if I continued up the trail where the encounter happened. At that point, I felt quite unnerved and afraid and started walking back towards the trailhead at a quick pace. I still felt like I was being observed the entire time, and my hair was standing on end. I'd gotten to a point in the trail where it turned towards the parking lot area, and I heard a noise coming from a thick patch of tall brush. It sounded like the chomping of teeth, if you chomped your teeth together really fast. I couldn't see anything that I had not heard, and I had not heard any movement in the bushes at all, and it totally freaked me out. I also smelled a very strong stench like skunk mixed with rotting food. It happened right next to me, and it took everything I had to keep myself from running. I remember calling out and saying, "Okay, I'm leaving. I'm sorry I interrupted you guys." I felt like something was going down in those woods, and I happened to walk into it, interrupting something. I believe they escorted me all the way out to the parking area, even though I saw and heard nothing else. And as I walked past the gate at the entrance to the trail, there was a young couple that had shown up and were walking towards me. As I got to my car, I stopped and I said to the couple, "I wouldn't go in there if I were you." They both stopped and looked at each other and then looked at me and said, "What? What do you mean?" I didn't know what to tell them. What do I say? There are Sasquatches in there and they don't want people around right now? They'd think I was mad. So I just said, "Well, you'll see," and got into my car and drove away. Looking back now, I feel that was irresponsible of me, and I should have told them the truth. And to hell with being considered a kook. You're right, Steve. We humans are so afraid of what other humans think of us. Isn't it bizarre? It's such a bizarre character trait for all of us. It's so weird. It's so weird. I spent many, many years thinking about this experience and what it meant. And after a lifetime of, quote, research, end quote, and experiences with these beings, I feel like I've had more questions than I have answers. That the answers I feel that I have gained are to be held loosely in the hand, because whenever you think you know what the hell is going on, something pops up to contradict or conflict with your hypothesis. I no longer hold on to anything regarding these beings in a dogmatic way. Personally, I feel we still haven't a clue to the breadth and scope of who these beings are and what their true function is on this planet. Some researchers say that these beings are multi-dimensional and paraphysical in nature, and although I feel this is definitely closer to the truth, I still think they are beyond our ability to really understand. We live in a 3D world, yet these beings seem to be 4D or 5D in nature. I feel that they serve a function here in our world in a way that we may never truly understand. And this is one of the reasons why information on these beings is suppressed and kept secret from the authorities of governments around the world. They do not fully understand either, and this is why they must suppress knowledge about them. Excuse me. They cannot control the situation, and if so, they cannot control the situation and its information. If they cannot control the situation and its information, then no one will. At least that is a narrative that they seem to be pushing. This is one of the reasons why the, quote, Sasquatch community, end quote, generally speaking, believes these beings are an unclassified ape. That information is allowed to be propagated throughout the world because it is wrong. Those who have a hand in the narrative of the human race want these beings to be something average or nominal because they cannot control them. If they cannot control them, then they will do all they can to openly discredit them and secretly destroy them. This may be one of the reasons why the big names of the Bigfoot community are used, willingly or unwillingly, in the tracking down and the killing of these beings. I'm hopeful that your project, Sasquatch Confirmed, changes this narrative and directs us in a way where we can not only grow and understand them, but also grow and understand ourselves. Why did the Sasquatch I saw on the trail put me in a trance and turn me around? It could have done many other things, including just letting me pass by without revealing himself, but it didn't. It could have easily scared the crap out of me and chased me out of the forest, but it didn't. It could have easily killed me or made me disappear, but it didn't. Why? I believe they have a reason in what they do for the most part, even if it is something far beyond our comprehension. It has been postulated by some researchers that the Sasquatch people are connected to portals or doorways, and that they may have an ability to come in and out of portals in our world. I tend to feel these intelligent beings are guardians of these doorways or portals that may open naturally depending on many different factors. The Earth's geomagnetic position in relation to the sun, or a myriad of other factors, and that these doorways remain open for periods of time. Could it be that when these unseen doorways open, that these beings stand guard around them, and if humans get too close, they are frightened off or turned around? There's just so much that we don't know. There is so much. I would love to discuss with you, Steve, especially as someone who is not a part of the Bigfoot community and does not buy into specific camps or ideologies regarding these incredible beings. I no longer have friends within the community, mainly because, to some degree or other, most researchers feel they have at least some things figured out, which to me is a joke. Even those who claim to have intimate spiritual and psychic connections with specific Sasquatch beings and have written books on this contact seem to contradict each other and to some degree act like they are ambassadors for the psychic Sasquatch beings. If these people are truly ambassadors of the Sasquatch people, then why do they differ from one another? I'm not a skeptic, and I'm not out to prove or disprove anything in this arena anymore. But I cannot help questioning things even from these self-proclaimed ambassadors of the Ancient Ones or the Sasquatch people. I just try not to drink any of the Kool-Aid that is passed around in this crazy community. I do think that as far as humans go, most who get into the research aspect of this phenomena become easy prey to hidden agendas and subtle ideologies. It's hard to remain unbiased and walk the razor's edge, or being able to hold on to information without grasping it and making something out of it. It doesn't make friendships, that's for damn sure. When I share an experience like I did above, people tend to want to fit that information into their boxes. They want to color it within the context of their presuppositions. If they're Christians, they have to fit it into their ideological box that is formed from their religious dogma and theological indoctrination. They have to fit it into their pre-existing box. If it doesn't fit, then it is either a lie or it is demonic and of the devil. Yet this is just one example. It is much harder to allow the information to paint its own picture if we don't understand it, or if it contradicts our worldviews or pre-existing ideologies. If these experiences that I have had have taught me anything, it is to not build constructs or ideas about them. They have taught me to not only be a free thinker, but also to not drink the Kool-Aid, no matter how enticing it may be. Researchers, generally speaking, want to create a name for themselves. Their research/investigation groups to be popular. Their work and efforts need to matter. Many people are clamoring for the top spots and to be recognized for all the study, research, and investments they have put into this endeavor. When you have hundreds, if not thousands of people who are seeking recognition and acclaim, seeking recognition and acclaim, you end up getting a giant shit show of narcissism, cult-like behavior, and even psychopathy. No one can smell their own bullshit. Humans trying to get on top of other humans, backbiting, slandering, trying to be bigger and better than the other guys. A truly toxic environment, psychologically, psychically, and spiritually. Many Bigfoot researchers deal with each other within this toxic environment and then go out into the forest trying to make contact with these incredible beings. And they wonder why these beings want nothing to do with them. Some researchers will spend 20 years in a known Sasquatch hotspot, but will have zero interaction with them, and they scratch their heads as to why. I think, generally speaking, most humans seem toxic to them. Most people do not believe in psychic abilities, let alone do not realize that there is such a thing as psychic hygiene. Most people have no idea they can be psychically filthy, especially those who are neck deep within the toxic Bigfoot communities. If people really want to make contact with these beings, then they need to learn how to quiet their minds and clean their personal psychic energy. Then their chances of making contact with these psychic beings, I believe, dramatically increases. Yet from my experience, and once you learn about psychic hygiene, how to truly quiet your mind and cleanse your heart and energy, body, then your ambitions for proof and answers seem to fall to the wayside. That was my experience anyways. Imagine how different things would be if those who were dead set on being researchers and gaining evidence and answers were to let it go, recognize that psychic hygiene is real, and began practices that cleansed their innate psychic abilities, learned how to turn off their internal dialogue, and brought peace to their lives. Imagine how it would change things. People would stop listening to the big names of the Bigfoot world, start listening to their own soul. I think the Sasquatch people would probably have more respect for us for cleaning ourselves up and letting go of the bullshit. Maybe we would get real answers from them, because it seems to me they obviously do not think humanity is ready to understand who and what they are and what they are really up to in the wild places. One thing is for sure, there is a hell of a lot going on that we are kept in the dark about. not from our governments, but from them. If missing 411 is telling us anything, it is telling us that there is a lot of mysterious things going on, and we are left out of the loop. I tend to think we're left out of the loop because we just are not able to understand, and that most likely our capacity to understand is directly related to our intuitive development and our psychic hygiene. Maybe, just maybe, we need to start learning through our intuition and not solely from logic and reason. If they really are interdimensional beings, not three-dimensional beings, but possibly five-dimensional beings, then we need to start understanding with more than just rationality. Our intuition is able to go beyond this 3D reality. Maybe the face-to-face encounter I had as a child was to be given this key to better understanding them. Not that there's anything special about me, but maybe that the psychic jumpstart that occurred to me during that experience was a gift that needs to be shared. I certainly don't claim to have the answers, but I think what was shared with me may need to be shared with other humans. I'm almost 50 years old now, and I feel like I'm just beginning to understand the importance of this, quote, gift, end quote. The gift has taught me that we are multi-dimensional beings as well, and we need to keep our intuitive house clean. Our sixth sense is where it's at, and maybe the Sasquatch people are leaving clues for us in order for us to hopefully mature and grow in this manner. Maybe this is one of the reasons why the woo encounters or psychic experiences that people have with these beings have been sanitized and hidden for all these years, to try to keep humanity from growing their intuition and cleaning their act up. Toxic people and suppressed intuitions are much easier to control and manipulate. This world is a shit show, and the Bigfoot community is a concentrated pool of human toxicity. Is it ever? Maybe we need to clean ourselves up and start walking in our natural, intuitive powers. First, before the world can be cleaned and straightened up. Maybe we need to stop looking out there for answers and start looking within ourselves. And this is what I really think many of the direct and indirect Sasquatch encounters are pointing to, if the stories and the experiences of others being shared are undiluted and unsanitized. They tend to be incredible experiences, and many of them are weird and spooky. Maybe our experiences with them tend to have paranormal, unusual, or psychic aspects in order for us to face our own paranormal, unusual, and psychic abilities. What many people look upon as something terrifying may actually be a therapeutic event in disguise. Like hard medicine forced down our throats. Do we accept it and grow from it? Or do we let it debilitate us and take away our love and need for the wild places? Can we look upon our terrifying encounters with different eyes? Can we use these experiences to further our personal growth, or let it be poison to our minds and heart, or let it be poison to our minds and hearts? These are the lessons I'm learning from my encounters. I hope I don't sound like I'm preaching here. That's definitely not my intent. I just think that many people are traumatized from their encounters with Sasquatch and haven't really been shown a way to face their experience in a way that can help them and grow from the experience instead of looking for answers through the shitty BFRO or other Sasquatch experts and the Bigfoot community at large. Is it wrong to look for answers in the woods? I think it is much more beneficial to look at our experiences with different eyes and gain from them directly. Use it for our betterment instead of our imprisonment of fear. It's taken me a long time to wrap my head around my terrifying experience, and now I feel it as being a great blessing to me. Bigfoot is definitely not the center of my life. It's been a trial to have to deal with, and I have kept having encounters, and I think to force me to deal with my own bullshit and to overcome the fear. It has forced me to look into my own psychic abilities and what it all means. That's really what I want for others who've had encounters, especially traumatic experiences. The Bigfoot community is filled with hurting, scared, and earnest people who want answers. I believe it's time to stop looking at other people as leaders and as experts, because there aren't any. I know I'm not. And anyone who acts like they are, you need to run the hell away from. This is why I'm hopeful for your work, Steve. You're not an expert or a Bigfoot leader. You're just like the rest of us, and you have had the means to make something that could end up helping people and sharing the undiluted facts about these incredible and sometimes terrifying beings. It has potential to actually help us and the world for that matter. Thanks for listening to my long emails. Please feel free to read it all as is or to edit however you see fit. If you don't want to share this for whatever reason, that's fine too. I've done my part, I feel. I wish you all the best, my friend, and hope life continues to bless you, John Blatt. All right. Maybe I read that in the past. Maybe I didn't. That is one hell of a worthy read. Don't you think? Right? Take from what you will or leave it. But let's just say for shits and giggles. Let's just say for shits and giggles, this man is hitting the nail on the head. And then, if you listen to all those words, I hope I delivered it smoothly enough so that you can take it in smoothly and understand what he's trying to get across. But let's just say he was nailing it. Then don't you think that that absolutely would make you completely frustrated with what the individuals of the so-called Bigfoot community have done and are continuing to attempt to do today? It is an embarrassing shit show what the majority of the people are doing, right? At this stage of the game, after all of us listening to each other, I mean, you gotta admit, just listening to each other's truth has exposed that absolute shit show that's been going on too long, right? It's been going on too long. Imagine what we have learned from each other. This is what I've been getting at for a long time. What we have learned from each other, okay? Pure truth and honesty here. What we learned from each other. And once you've learned that, turn around and look at somebody selling Bigfoot excursions. Right? And that is the part where I have been shitting on, is these people trying to make a buck off of somebody from selling a Bigfoot excursion. Like you're going into the Amazon to look for a monkey that hasn't been recognized. It's such an embarrassing shit show. Why? And I can say that with absolute confidence. Because of all of you telling the truth. That's why. It's pretty simple, isn't it? It's just called honesty. Right? It's just being honest. All you got to do is be honest. In this lifetime, that's it. And it changes a lot. But anyway, what if I should contact Mr. John Blatt and have him on with me and have a conversation with me? What do you think? I think that would probably be pretty good. I think he's an honest man. I think he has shared his honest experiences here, and I think that he is very wise. And a lot of what he shared, I really resonate with at this stage of the game. And I've said from the beginning as well, we are not going to understand anything until we understand ourselves. That's for certain. So it can be quite confusing as our ride goes along, as we're trying to understand ourselves, our truth, and try to figure that one particular little shit show out at the same time, right? A little mind-boggling. There are no experts, and he's true. What he said about, just the people who claim to have these connections with these beings, none of them are exactly the same. It is true, because I've spoken to these people. It's true. They all vary. There is a handful, quite a few similarities, identical points being shared from these people, for sure. But for the most part, one simple point I get across is every single one of these people says that they do not fully trust them, right? So, and the part about inviting them into your life, into your brain, in a way, I think that's true too. When that being was watching me when I was a teenager, that whatever was going on, why they selected me to watch me and let me know they're watching me, I haven't a clue. And now I look back and I remember all those feelings, those anxious feelings in the forest, some parcels of woods, I'm feeling this pressure of not going in there. Something's in there. And I wasn't aware of this topic at all. Right? And here I am, 10 years old, 11, 12, running around the forest non-stop, especially on the weekends, because part of the family divorce deal, I had to go to my mom's every second weekend. And she had that alcoholic scumbag in the house, and I just go into the woods and run around the woods all day. But there's always this patch of woods right there, especially when I was practicing with my bow. I'd be shooting this bow, and I could go hike on this side of the hill. I could go hike that side of the hill and all the way down creek. But there was the creek going into the mountains with the thick brush right there. And I just felt the whole half. I can recall that feeling crystal clear. I can feel that somewhat pressure from the head of that creek where it disappeared into the forest. I just kept my one eye on that patch all the time. I'd be shooting my bow this way. I vividly remember, and I'd go pull my arrows out of that sod bank. I'd put 4 sticks, about that long. Stick, 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 and I'd press the 4 sticks into this sod pile, and that was my target. I'd go up there and shoot the bow nonstop, but I'm walking this way, and I'm keeping my one eye to the left. I'll never forget that, especially now. And I never knew why or what was in there, but I felt it. And then later on, I got my driver's license and I got a compound bow when I go bow hunting by myself. And then I really felt that pressure. We're talking 5 years later after realizing that. And every time I went up over that pass, I would feel that insane anxiety, pressure feeling all around me, like, holy God, I don't want to go walk up there here again. Here we go again. And all the hairs of my neck and body would stand on end until I got past that, through that pass. It was big, mature fir, shallal, willow, whatever the species of small-leafed, thick-ass shit plants on both sides of the road. Old road. Thin gravel road. Never used anymore. And there, I know there's steep rock moss bluffs in that timber as well, and big fir trees, right? But I couldn't see in there. Couldn't see nothing from the road. And that was my most stressful point of that hike, was there. And that was like, by the time I got there, it was like 45, an hour. About an hour hike up before I had to leave my old 72 Chev pickup. My first truck, and then I go over the mountain and down around to this old cutout block, and then I hunt there. And then I'd stay until I couldn't see antlers. You know, I'd wait until it was so dark out that I couldn't see antlers anymore, and that would be my time to leave. If there was a deer in front of me 20 yards away, I would be really tough to see if it was a buck or not, and I knew that was time to go. And I'd turn around, and then I'd be dreading walking all the way back up that hill and over the rocks and through that pass. I'd be dreading it. Like, oh God, here we go. I don't want to go through there. But it's the only way I could go, because all cliffs to go the other way. And thick jungle the other way. I had to go through. That's the only way I go back. And I remember feeling that. And then finally, I don't even recall how many seasons I hunted there feeling like that before it happened. I don't even know if it was the first season, because I hunted all the time. And then and I went through that pass, and then walking down the old gravel road, I look up, and here's this dude, I thought, squatting down or whatever he's doing. Could have even been laying on his chest like that. I don't know. Looking straight at me from, like, right there. Like, right there. In your face. Right there. Skylined perfect. And there isn't a human being alive that would be out there in the middle of frickin' nowhere, face to face on an angle like that. I mean, we are looking at each other. That dude is 100% knew I was coming, was sitting there watching me. And not acknowledge or speak back. And furthermore, later on, when I realized it wouldn't be that large, either a human being wouldn't be that large. And then the anxiety, shitting myself, walking back in that pitch frickin' black to my truck. It was horrible. That was a horrible walk in my life. Anyways, what am I getting at? I'm babbling. Why me? Why me? Why did you do that to me? Why did you make yourself available to me those days, that evening? Why? Why? You know? I don't know why. Because I don't know why. Why do they do that? I'm going to have somebody on here real soon who's going to speak with me on camera here, record to share with you. There's another man who basically lived parallel existence as far as I'm concerned, that we do the exact same things, seem to have the same passions, that hunted a lot of the areas, fished a lot of the areas, still do today. Haven't met in person, been in contact for a handful of years now, and he's going to come on here with me. And he did not seek out these beings or contact or look forever, but he has had face-to-face numerous other experiences. I just had another one last week. Seems like every time he goes out, something happens. And I want to talk to him and have a conversation with him, listen to everything he's done, how he feels about what he does. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know how he carries himself through life in his mind, walking the trails in the forest, going hunting. Just to get a feel for his mindset, his energy, whatever you want to call it. His previous knowledge of these beings, if he had any. What I want to try to figure out is hopefully, in a way, maybe it's a big task, but I want to find out how and why they choose who they choose. Do you know what I mean? And see if there's some kind of pattern there with different people. Because it's a really odd thing to me. I don't get it. I don't understand why people like myself, John Black, this man I'm about to have on here with us, why? Why us? How come? Do you know what I mean? How come? How come us and not others? Especially when the people that I know of who are similar to I am, I haven't had zero interest in this psychic world. I haven't had zero interest in different dimensions. I've got zero interest. I have grown up not knowing and not having any interest in any of that at all. There's beings, so why? You know what I mean? I never walked down that trail inviting Sasquatch into my life. Do you know what I mean? So why me? And I'm certain the man who we're about to have meet on here with us, I'm certain he's carried himself through life the same way. So why him? How come, especially now, almost every time he goes somewhere, something scares the living shit out of him? And I guarantee you, he's not asking for it. So why him? Right? So I'm really looking forward to seeing if maybe I can find some sort of a pattern in some of us, among us, men, women, children, who didn't ask for this but are having it happen anyways. Okay, so what's common ground between all of us so we can figure this out? You know what I mean? The coffee's kicking in, isn't it? What time is it? All right, I think I have enough time. I'm going to keep sharing because I got to get going. I got to get Sarah in. We got to get blood work done and drive there. And apparently it's a first come, first serve deal here in Canada. If you want to go get something done, can't even get your appointment made. No, we're busy here. Just come and get in line. Who knows how long that'll be. In Canada, where the current criminal government, get this one, side note, they're making death available for people who have mental health issues. You want to kill yourself? You had enough? We'll come over to your house and we'll snuff you out. That's what they're doing. Even anorexia is included in there. If you want to kill yourself, give her. That's Canadian. That's the criminals today. And Sarah, I'm going to share this one more note as I'm going here. Sarah's mom lives in Vancouver. She took that needle, and her life hasn't been the same since. And her doctor told her flat out, don't do any more of them. Look at her, don't take any more, right? So now get this one. Her mom's friend who lives in the same apartment complex in West Vancouver, she decided she had enough. She's old, she's depressed, doesn't want to live anymore. Get this one, this is direct first-hand word. She picked out the clothes she wanted to wear, got a hold of this place, I haven't even looked into it, where the Canadian government will allow you to whack yourself. And she said, I'm done coming, let's do this. They said, okay, get ready. They came over the next day and killed her in her apartment, took her away. Some people may say killed her is a little drastic, but they euthanized her, put her out of her misery, snuffed her out, took her life, didn't help her, encourage her. And that happened. Wow, right? I was almost thinking I should make a video for the hell of it. and see if I can apply for assisted suicide, being a healthy human being, and dupe them and get them to come to my house to put me down and put it all on video to show how much of a fuck up that is, right? Anyway, moving along. Who's next? Thought I'd share that little tidbit. I think it's important to share that note. All right, this is titled Red. No title. Hello. You can use our names if you read this on your channel. My girlfriend Mandy has a 4-year-old daughter named Catherine, and I've been with her since she found out she was pregnant with her, so I'm a father figure to her. However, it's congenial with her biological dad, and we co-parent pretty well. I'm a lifelong outdoorsman, and I'm now 47. I grew up hunting, fishing, and generally exploring by road and trail remote areas. Mandy, on the other hand, is a self-proclaimed city girl, so I've been introducing her to the backcountry, and she has really enjoyed it for the most part. We live on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington, so we have the last couple summers been hiking into the wilderness areas bordering the Olympic National Park, while Catherine is with her father. We've taken the kid on a few day hikes on easy lowland trails to start getting her used to the idea in preparation for when her mother feels she's ready for remote trails. At the beginning of June this year, we picked a trail near Carbonado, Washington, that leads to a ghost town and abandoned mine along an old railroad line. This is near Mount Rainier National Park. Red flag. I get a red flag as soon as I hear Mount Rainier National Park. Mount Rainier, a red flag. The trail is just outside of town and runs between a busy highway and the river. It's fairly well used, but not ridiculously busy like some other trails close to civilization. Perfect place to take a 4-year-old, or so we thought. We get to one of the locked gates that leads to the trail later in the day that we would have liked. It was sprinkling, and at this point we were discussing canceling the whole plan, but decide to press on. As soon as we park, I'm apprehensive and can tell Mandy is as well, but there is a family packing up after finishing their hike, and they are all smiles. And Catherine is excited to see the ghost town and would have been disappointed if we headed home. I always carry a sidearm in the backcountry, but not always on more popular hikes, and at first I leave my pistol locked in the center console, but go back and get it because it starts to bother me that I don't have it. Go with the guts, right? Always follow your intuition. I strap it on, check it 3 times to make sure it's loaded, and I can reach it easily. This isn't like me, as I'm very comfortable carrying a firearm, and Mandy even asked me what I'm doing. We get down to the trail proper. And I hate being there. It's just not right somehow. Probably meant trailhead. And I hate being there. It's just not right somehow. I want to scrap the idea still. And so does Mandy. I will find out later. After what feels like 4 hours, but it is 15 minutes according to my watch, we still have seen none of the remnants of the town or a mining operation we came to see. We later found out that they are mostly overgrown and invisible except in the late fall. Catherine's walking about 10 feet in front of us, skipping along, and happy as all can be. And what I'm guessing was an owl lets out a whoop and scares me and Mandy to death, as we are both on edge for some reason. Mandy yells for Catherine to get back to her and hold her hand. And now you need to know, we've been hiking in the backcountry just the weekend before, 7 miles completely alone, and Mandy had not a care in the world. Later I'd ask myself what that owl whooped like. Why that owl whooped like that in broad daylight. Did something startle it from its slumber? Or was it an owl? The highway is just above us and the river's below us, and I swear I hear something moving around below us, and I keep thinking I hear something paralleling us. But when a car goes by, it seems like that's when it moves. This is starting to grate on me, but thinking any minute we will find something to show the child so she can see a ghost town, and I can blame the weather, fading light, and announce we are heading back. After what seems like an eternity, we finally view an old trestle that we are going to pass under, and we can see it. The noises are louder in the brush below the trail. Excuse me. Mandy looks at me and says, "We need to get out of here now." He turns around to head down the trail, and I swoop Catherine up and we take off, literally jogging back the way we came, with Mandy leading the way. There is still noise coming from below the trail, but it's hard to hear, as it still feels like it's only moving when a car goes by, covering the noise. We ride back to our vehicle after a very nerve-wracking journey, and I suggest at one point we walk along the highway, but there's no shoulder really, and with the kid it seems too dangerous. I suggest at another point Catherine and Mandy wait beside the highway for me, and I run back to the vehicle. Mandy firmly shuts this idea down. Thank God. What was I even thinking? Another time, and maybe she was just being four, but Catherine asks if we can take a side trail down to the river, which we both respond with a not just no, but heck no. All right, it's a little awkward couple sentences there. We'll get through it. A lot more happened in this short 3-mile round trip hike, and it was the longest 3 miles of my life, including packing elk out in some pretty rough country. No definitive proof of anything, but I will say we have hiked, and I've been on a solo backcountry hunt since, and all was normal. We drove away, went and got ice cream, and had an uneventful drive home. That night we discussed the day's events, and although we didn't talk a lot during the ordeal as we were focused on not scaring Catherine, we both shared the same feelings and general unfounded fear through the whole thing. Also, I will add, even though I had my Glock locked and loaded on my hip, and I'm pretty proficient with it, it never felt like it would have been enough to deal with what we were experiencing. Thanks for taking the time to read this, Tony. All right, Tony, thanks, man. Thanks for the area too, right? I don't know when this is written in. It might have been a while back, but if you're still hanging out here and you've had anything else happen or learned any more, share with us, all right? Email me back and share with us. Oh, wow, this next one's a long one with photos. I'm going to have to save that for tomorrow, I guess. Because I got to get going. That's, a lot of people, some people might be here for the more dramatic experience or sighting, right? But that's not what this is about. We need to hear everyone. And when somebody just writes in with what may be considered, well, it's just a feeling they had, it's sufficient. It's sufficient. It's significant. Right? It doesn't sound significant to read out here, but you got to imagine being that person, especially he's a experienced hunter, packing elk out of the middle of nowhere, right? The guy's been in the woods. And to be knee-jerked and motivated to write into us that experience, you need to understand that when many people write in these experiences of just feeling fear or smelling the smell, it's very significant, okay? It's very, very intense and significant. A lot more than what I believe people can deliver to us here, be it typing away. It's a tough thing, right? It's a tough thing to put us there. It's a tough thing to help us feel what they may be feeling at that time. They're feeling that fear and smelling that smell or whatever, right? It's significant. Just want to make sure people are aware of that. And it's worthy to write into us and share that with us because we need to hear about it. It's helping people. Anyway, there you go. I've rambled and babbled. Caffeine gave me a little kick in the butt there for a bit. Take from it what you will or leave it, but don't stop talking honestly. Quit being scared of each other. Right? Quit being scared of human beings, especially today. I got a lot I could talk about, I want to talk about, but I don't have the time to. I'll save that for later. Now, I gotta go. I gotta go, oh, and Ruby's got a doctor appointment too. It's a full day. Driving and doctor offices. And then I'll be back. Then hopefully I will fire the sucker up. And I'm gonna have a very interesting conversation with a man who nonstop has experiences and has looked at one of these beings in the eyeballs. And he goes to a lot of the same places I go. And I want to find out why. I want to find out what he has experienced. And together we're going to try to figure out why. Why us, right? And then I'll share it with you guys. So there you go. Share my story at howtohunt.com. Get it out to the people. Quit being scared of the people and get it shared. I'll be back. Oh my God, I just had a frickin' hammer steelhead on. Caught, hooked him right there. Oh. I was fumbling, I got another GoPro on my kneecap and I was fumbling with it. I came ripping up river. I gently pulled up on him and it spit the hook. Oh, the pain, but the excitement. I hooked a steelhead. Yes. Yes. All right, well, maybe I'll hook him again. You never know. Try this again.